Vinay Rajani joining us on the show. Good afternoon, Vinay. Thank you so much for joining us. And let me just keep it with real estate space. I did speak to Kunal about it, but I wanted to understand your view on the entire real estate space because yes, this one did have a very good run over the last 4 to 5 years. Now it is seeing a correction, and the correction is just getting steeper by the month when you talk about the real estate space. How do you view this one, and any stock that you're liking?
Yeah, good afternoon. So real estate space, the primary trend has been bearish. It has been forming lower top, lower bottoms on weekly and monthly chart. So it is one of the sectors which underperformed, and between that we saw a nice pullback, and again the downtrend is resuming. But the bottom was formed. If we were to talk about the Nifty realty index, the bottom was formed around 800 odd levels. I am talking about the Nifty realty index. So that is a strong support. So no doubt from the higher level in last 4-5 sessions we have seen some correction, but I think 800 is a strong base for the index, and anytime soon we can see again a resumption of an recovery. So no doubt it has fallen in recent past in last 3-4 sessions, but there is a strong support around 800 in the Nifty realty index. I think that should hold, and we should see recovery from that level. So it might happen that 1 or 2% further correction could be there, but I don't see these recent lows to be broken on the downside. So 800 is a strong support, and I am expecting some sort of recovery after a couple of sessions or some sort of extension of the correction. Again, we can see recovery. So overall, at this point of time, I don't feel one should go short in the real estate stock.
Okay, hold on to that thought, Vinay. Lots more to talk about, but let's get in some closing strategies as well. Kunal, what's on your list?
So I'll go with BPCL as a buy. Interestingly, the stock which went out of the Nifty 50 basket, I think now starts to look a little bit more attractive in terms of the technical setup. And looking at the current chart structure as well as the movement in many of the other peer stocks, expecting the stock to move up higher by a swing of another 3 to 5%.
Okay, and Vinay, would you have any closing ideas?
Yeah, I would be recommending 2 recommendations from my side. NMDC, so overall metal sector has been performing very well. So NMDC, which has just surpassed the important moving average resistances and looking quite resilient on the chart. So NMDC can be bought around 70. Traders can keep a stop loss at 68, and 73 should be the short-term target. The second pick I would choose is from the PSU bank space, Bank of India. So Bank of India has been outperforming in the technical setup, and indicator of the results that we have been tracking are showing strength in the counter. So Bank of India can be bought around 110. Stop loss can be kept at 107, and on the higher side we can expect a target of 150.
Those are some of the closing trades coming in from our experts. On that note, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Closing Trades. When we come back, we'll chart the last half hour of trading session. Don't go anywhere.
Closing trades right here in ET now. Still got half an hour of trade to go, and let's just revisit where the market is settling in at. It is a day of acute pain, and it almost feels like the India equity markets are singled out. Post the long weekend, you are pretty much reacting to the Friday handover from the rest of the globe. Still counting lower, we're still down over 300 points at the index level alone. It's a tad bit better for the broader markets, but that's also because of singled out outperformers like an IDFC First, Idea, or Indus Towers, etc. But Sudeep Bandyopadhyay as well is on the show with us. Sudeep, hi, good to have you on the show. What is this, a delayed reaction that one is seeing to Friday's US market weakness, or just lightening up ahead of the tariff day tomorrow?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, Aisha. Definitely that 2nd April tariff is looming large over everybody's, psychology and, reaction or action. Too much of uncertainty, and, there are so many statements coming out of US. It's very, very difficult to even try to, gauge what's going to happen. So everybody wants to go light into the event, and that's pretty much causing this sell-off. And it's a broad kind of sell-off. It's not that any stock specific or counter specific. Yes, there are some sectors which have gone down more than others, but by and large, sell-off is across the board.
Right, that's true. We're seeing actually a sell-off across the board. A very good afternoon to you, Sudeep. But are there any pockets that you think that could be safe haven at this point in time in this kind of declining volatile market?
I think if you're looking about a couple of days or a week, I don't think so, because uncertainty and volatility is too much. But if somebody is looking at long term, I think our views remain consistent. We like the power sector, so an NTPC, PFC, REC, the entire ecosystem of the power sector does look good to us from a long term point of view. We like Bharat Electronics and defense electronics place. We do like some of the opportunities which we see in construction infrastructure, like in cement. We believe the demand is picked up. There is a lot of public spending happening, and cement should start seeing good days ahead. So yes, there are pockets. One should be extremely selective, but probably these dips are good opportunity for buying stocks for long term.
To buy stocks in long term, and also quality good stock that would be the caveat, isn't it, Sudeep?
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's exactly how one should behave. There are so many good stocks which are correcting because of this general uncertainty which is prevailing. Somebody is trying to build a portfolio for long term. I think it's a great opportunity. It's not that they should put all the money to work today itself, but yes, they should start putting money instead of waiting any further. One doesn't know what's going to happen, how the global markets, Indian markets are going to react after the tariffs are announced. We will probably react on third morning, when the market opens on third morning here. So yes, uncertainty is there, but one should start putting money to work. A lot of large cap good companies are available. Mid cap good companies are available at attractive valuation. And if you compare these values with, let's say in September 24 valuations, they are definitely cheap comparatively and attractive now from a long-term portfolio point of view.
Power and real cement would be some of the counters or sectors that look attractive at this point in time, Vinay. So from the power space, are you liking any of the stocks which have actually made a comeback? Case in point being NTPC, a good comeback coming in for that counter also.
Yeah, so overall, along with the power, PSU space has also been showing strength. Some of the stocks from power stocks which are looking good to us is the NHPC, which is looking good. Torrent Power is one of the space, one of the stock which we like. In last series also, March series, we have seen a significant long build-up with the Torrent Power. So Torrent Power is one of the stock which we like from the power space. Another stock which is looking good to us is the NHPC. So NHPC is looking good. The NTPC, yes, NTPC is also holding well for last 4-5 sessions. It has been into a running correction, but there is a strong support of 200 days exponential average around 347. So a couple of percentage correction could be there, but overall power stocks are looking strong, and one of the strong stocks which we prefer is Torrent Power, followed by NHPC, and obviously as you said, NTPC is one of the strong stocks in the power space.
Okay, let's move on and let's talk about the auto sales as well. The market weakness, and we're not just focusing on that. And the numbers have come in for the month of March. Shrishti joins in with how those are stacking up. Shrishti?
Well, the key outlier within the March auto sales data is the tractor division, because look at the numbers for Escorts as well as M&M. Not just that the company have recorded a double-digit YOY growth, but look at the commentary as well, where both the companies are actually highlighting that after a good month, that is March 2025, they are expecting the sales momentum to continue. And the leader, of course, that is M&M, is highlighting that they expect in Q1 of FY26 that expected to be even better. And both the companies' numbers were actually above the street estimates. So tractor division is one of the key outliers, but other than that, within the two-wheeler space, we also have numbers from Eicher Motors Royal Enfield, which did fairly better versus the street estimates. The company did surpass that 1 lakh unit mark, and some of their newer offerings have been doing pretty well for themselves. And within the same segment, we also have TVS Motors as well, wherein the exports have done very well, and the numbers were actually above than what the street was penciling in. Now let's talk about the passenger vehicle segment, because herein M&M Automotive Division as well as the numbers for Maruti Suzuki, they were actually in line to what the street was penciling in. But this is the segment to watch out for, because from this month itself, that's from April 2025, all of these companies have already announced their price hikes that will going to be applicable, and the impact on the demand will be the key monitorable, and that will be something that we will be watching out for. And lastly, from the commercial vehicle segment, a bit of a mixed bag. Why so? Because Ashok Leyland numbers were actually above than what the street was penciling in. Their MHCV segment did very well for themselves, while for Eicher Motors VECV, the numbers were actually in line. So what we can call it that yes, of course, the tractor division did really well for themselves, but other than that, no other company has actually disappointed on the sales data. That is another key takeaway. Mostly all the numbers are either in line or the numbers are above than what the street was penciling in. Back to you.
It's quite a mixed bag so far. Of course, the below estimate numbers have been from Maruti and Volvo Eicher so far, in line for Escorts and M&M, the auto division. But the beat has come in from both Ashok Leyland, TVS Motors, and of course, Royal Enfield as well. But let's talk tariffs and let's get you an ET Now exclusive. The stakeholders, it seems, were briefed last week on discussions related to US-India trade talks. Now, concerns related to the two nations were also discussed. What else was discussed during this 4 days talk that they had on trade? Sumita is here with more details on that. Sumita?
Well, we're given to understand that stakeholders were briefed last week on discussions that ensued between the United States side and Indian side so far as trade talks to negotiate a bilateral trade agreement is concerned. Sources say that India is concerned that other geographies should not benefit even if there is a tariff imposition, whether there is a tariff increase or decrease that happens. Remember, US is looking to get the trade imbalance fixed, and India has held the view that export and import between the United States and India is complementary, and to address the trade imbalance is something that the United States has been referring to. India could possibly look at buying more crude oil from the United States. India could also look at nuclear energy collaboration and cooperation with the United States. In fact, India is looking at complementarity in pharma with the United States as well. Now, India, if you remember, recently proposed abolishing the equalization levy as well. There were 4 days of talks between United States and Indian trade officials. They concluded last week, and both sides are looking at expanding the bilateral trade to reach $500 billion by 2030. Remember, this is a target that was set earlier this year during meetings that went on between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi. Meanwhile, Commerce Ministry released a statement on these trade talks, which concluded last week. They said the talks centered around shared objectives of promoting growth, ensuring fairness, national security, and job creation. They also said that the meeting was to discuss the next steps towards a mutually beneficial bilateral trade agreement, to discuss to make sure that the first tranche of the BTA is finalized by fall of 2025. In fact, now it is that sectoral experts will be engaging under that BTA, and those negotiations will start in the coming few weeks.
We have some big things we're going to be announcing over the next 2 days that you know very well, Peter, and I think it's going to be something that's going to bring a lot of wealth back to our country, tremendous wealth back to our country, actually. And other countries are understanding it because they've been ripping us for 50 years, longer. I think this is going to be an amazing, I call it a lot of different names, but it's really, in a sense, it's a rebirth of a country, because how we could have afforded to do what we did. We help everybody, and they don't help us. I really, the term I like best probably is the liberation of America. It's the liberation of this country, because it's incredible. Look, we have 36 trillion in debt for a reason, and that accumulates over a long period of time. So I think what you're going to be seeing over the next couple of days will be very inspiring to a lot of people.
Yes, so all eyes will be on April 2nd, 3 p.m. Washington time is when he will be announcing those reciprocal tariffs. It will be sectoral tariffs as well. He will be, US President Donald Trump will be actually going into details of what those reciprocal tariffs would be like. But let me move aside from that news, and Sudeep, let me get your view actually coming in on the telecom space. You have Vodafone Idea, which is the stock of the day, where you have the government that has now gone ahead and converted that outstanding spectrum dues into equity, by which now the government will be holding approximately 49% stake in Vodafone Idea. Do you think that this will actually change a lot for Vodafone Idea, by the way, how the things are going for the business of this particular company?
Like a band-aid. I mean, you have a problem and you put a band-aid on it. It pushes the problem to a later date. Definitely, it helps in the short term because the problem was very big, and government converting the debt into equity has definitely given them some relief. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But does it mean that Vodafone Idea is out of the danger and back in good health and things will be good from here on? The answer is definitely no. There is a long way to go. I think the operational challenges for Vodafone Idea is huge. They are losing customers continuously, and that needs to stop first before anything else can really be said about Vodafone Idea. And I've been maintaining this view for the last 1 year. Till the time they stop the bleeding of the customers, I think any amount of fundraising will not help. Now, of course, this conversion into equity does give them an opportunity to go and borrow money from banks, put some money in the capital expenditure, ensure that there's a 5G rollout in metros like Mumbai, which definitely does help. But the final objective has to be stopping the exodus of customers. Unless that happens, I think the future does look bleak. Long term also, unless Vodafone Idea can probably improve its earnings by about 50%, the question of them servicing the future liabilities also is going to be extremely difficult at this stage. So I am not sure what's going to happen to Vodafone Idea. This is a temporary relief, but long term, definitely I won't advise anybody to buy. Well, traders can keep buying and selling and enjoying the volatility there. If somebody has to play the Indian telecom sector, I think Bharti Airtel is the place to go to. I think it's this company, the cash flows are improving. The capex is major capex is behind them. Revenues are improving. Also, if somebody wants to be a little more aggressive, they can go and buy Reliance as well. It's got multiple other businesses, but they have a telecom business as well, and value unlocking at some point of time will happen. So I won't recommend a long-term investor to buy Vodafone Idea at this stage.
Okay. Is Sudeep, the call same for Indus Towers?
Well, Indus Tower is good. I think definitely the government is very clear that they don't want to create a duopoly kind of a situation in the telecom space, and that is good news for Indus Tower. But the question is, the tower expansions will slow down going forward because 5G rollout for Airtel to a great extent is over. So I'm not sure of the pace of growth of revenue of Indus Tower in the near future. We'll have to see when 6G comes or other developments come into play. But as things stand today, it's a good buy, but not for a long term because I'm not sure about the long term of Indus Tower.
For sure, both those stocks are the high flyers. But Kunal, any BTST trades?
Yeah, I'll suggest a couple of buy calls. The first one is about Piramal Pharma, something which we discussed in the morning also. Looks attractive. I think at 222, 224 levels where it's trading right now. Would look out for targets in the range of 232. Stop loss could be kept at 218. And the second would be a buy on Maharashtra Seamless. This could be an interesting chart. The stock is forming a rounding bottom formation on the daily charts. Crossed about the 700 levels. Excellent volumes today for the stock. Would look out for targets in the range of 755. Stop loss at 700.
All right, so those are the BTST ideas coming in from our experts. We have the GST collection data that has just been released by the government, where the GST for the month of March is coming at around GST collection that's coming at around 1.96 lakh crore rupees, which is higher by about 6.8% on a month-on-month basis and 9.9% on a year-on-year basis. You have the central GST collections coming at around 38,100 crore rupees, and the state one is coming at around 49,900 crore rupees. So for now, if you look at the GST collection data, definitely seeing a good uptick on a year-on-year as well as on a month-on-month basis. Sudeep, let me come to you and get your view actually coming in on the IT space. We did speak to earlier to Sandeep Sabharwal also on the IT space. What's your take on this one? How should one actually gauge this entire sector, given the fact that at one point in time you thought things are going to get only better, given the fact that you had Trump administration, a change in regime in the United States, but from there on the entire outlook for the US economy has only deteriorated, where you have a lot of economists actually talking about recession now?
You're absolutely right. I think that's pretty much explains what's happening to IT. If US is getting into a recession or there is a definite slowdown in US, obviously IT budgets will be cut. people will hold back spending. Maybe some even existing projects will be put on hold. Now, none of this is good news for Indian IT, which derives 50% plus income from North America, particularly US. Now, under these circumstances, it's pretty uncertain at this stage how things will settle down in US. And I think it's better to wait and watch rather than try and grab some of these IT stocks. Yes, they have corrected and they probably will correct further, but no need to rush into these stocks. Some of these companies, particularly the large cap IT companies, are fundamentally good companies. They are doing all the right things. But if US slows down, there is a recession or there is a massive inflation in US, which is being suspected now, things cannot be good for Indian IT companies. So it's better to wait and watch.
Okay, avoid for now. That's the clear call coming in on IT. I just want to see what the likes of a HAL as well as BEL are up to. These stocks have seen a decent rebound all through the month of March. And now HAL has signed contracts worth about 62,700 crores with the Defence Ministry for supply of 156 light combat helicopters. UBS, they maintained their buy rating on HAL with a revised target price now to 54.40 from the earlier 4800 thereabouts. BEL, of course, has been the strongest of the lot, and it's good to see that L&T as well has been getting quite a few order inflows of late. Sudeep, how do you map the moves within the industrials pack, and what would you still like within that?
Definitely, L&T is a great buy at current levels. And look, all these corrections are giving a great opportunity to accumulate this quality stock. The recent order win from Qatar was a landmark order win. I mean, it's the biggest order win for them. And one has to remember that the margin profile of L&T is improving. All these international orders, if you see, it's about 10% plus margin, whereas the existing book had about 8% margin. So overall margin profile of L&T is changing and it's improving. This is good news definitely for L&T. And you mentioned that they started winning defense orders as well. Also, the subsidiaries are performing well. Of course, there are some question marks on the IT subsidiaries because of what's happening. And remember, LTI Mindtree has a significant chunk of their business coming from US. So there are some uncertainties on their IT subsidiary. But fundamentally, Larsen & Toubro core business is very, very strong. And I think at current level, definitely worth buy. You mentioned defense. I do like BEL, Bharat Electronics. It's a fantastic company. They're doing all the right things. Order book is fabulous. And, they cater to Air Force, Army, Navy, all three branches of armed forces. The export opportunity also is emerging. They have ventured into ancillary segments like metro electronics for metro rails. That's also a very promising segment. And performance has always been good. They've been beating market expectation quarter on quarter. So current level, definitely a good buy from a long-term perspective.
Right. So that's the take coming in on the defense space. This interesting comments coming in from Xi Jinping, Aisha, where he's saying that it is the right choice for China and India to be partners of mutual achievement and realize the dragon and elephant tango. He's also saying that two sides should view and handle China-India relations from strategic and long-term perspective. So some very interesting commentary coming in. Just a day before, we could have that tariff hit coming from the United States, and it is China's Xi Jinping actually giving that comment, that the fact that it's the right choice for China and India to be partners of mutual achievement and realize the dragon and elephant tango. Interesting comments coming in actually on that particular front. For now, if you look at the markets, we are shutting shop near the day's lowest point when you talk about the Nifty. Below that 23,200 mark, when you talk about the benchmark indices, is a broader markets also that participated in today's fall. However, if you look at the advance decline ratio, the advances are much better and healthier when you compare it to the declines, with the Nifty Bank actually shutting lower by about 1.5%. IT index, realty index, these are the two major indices that have actually been hit hard in trade today, with the realty index actually reacting to that Maharashtra ready reckoner rates being hiked. So you have realty index down about 3%. You have the IT index that's under pressure on the fact that yes, Trump tariff threats and what impact it will have on the US economy doesn't bode well for the Indian IT sector. Talking about some of the outliers in trade today, definitely it has to be Vodafone Idea. That one shutting higher in excess of about 15%, while we speak 20% actually Vodafone Idea. You have Bharti Airtel also holding on to good gains. Indus Towers, 5% uptick coming in for Indus Towers, given the fact that if things go better for Vodafone Idea, Indus Towers will at least get its dues. Trent is the other one that was seeing a good up move in trade today on back of the fact that their portfolio has reached that 1,000 stores mark. So you have Trent that is holding on to good gains of about 5%. Apart from that, some of the individual counters that are actually trading lower in trade today, it's HCL Tech, BEL, Bajaj Finserv, HDFC Bank as well as Bajaj Finance. While on the flip side, IndusInd Bank today shining bright in trade, 5% uptick coming in for IndusInd Bank. You have Jio Financial also holding on to good gains of about 1.5%. Take a look at some of the auto names, given the fact that you had the auto sales data today. You have TVS Motors that reversed from the day's lowest point to end in the positive territory. You also have Ashok Leyland that has also seen a positive move. But as of now, if you see, yes, Trump tariff threats having an impact on the Indian markets, shutting lower by about 1.5% in trade today. Come tomorrow, hopefully we'll have a better day and less of a volatility. But remember, tomorrow 3 p.m. Washington time is when Trump will announce those tariffs. But on that note, we're totally out of time on this edition of Closing Trades. Thank you so much for watching.